The best piece of advice you've ever received?
Yeah, I remember sitting in like a lecture theatre with a whole bunch of other great leaders from across the country, and I was sitting there like thinking I was a fraud, right? Like I'm sitting there with great leaders from other churches, denominations, business, all kinds of stuff, and I'm sitting there feeling like an absolute fraud. And there's this one guy, like the very first night, just went, there's people thinking they're frauds in this room, and I was like, he's speaking to me, you know, you get that kind of crazy moment. But he kind of went to unpack, and I love to achieve stuff. I love to, if you do the Enneagram, I'm a 3, I'm an achiever. I like to do lots of stuff like that. You resonate with that, I'm sure. But is this mic drop moment of me being my late 20s going, who you are is more important than what you do. And I think I always knew that, like character stuff's really important, but it just dropped something in me. Like it was that kind of slap in the face moment that I don't have to achieve to get anyone's approval. I don't have to do any of that. Not from God as a pastor, not from my wife, not from anyone else. I wasn't married at the time, but not from anyone else. I didn't have to do anything to be approved of. I am just already loved. And that was kind of like that moment where I've been striving for years and years and years, and it's kind of shifted this filter for me that now I don't have to work my butt off or just like impress other people. I can just do what I think I'm called to do or be good at and just do that.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. So this wasn't one of the questions, but since you mentioned, like the first thing you said was like I felt like a fraud, and I think that is something that a lot of us feel. Like I feel like that a lot.
Yeah.
Why do you think you felt like what was the lecture about?
Yeah, it was actually on like leadership and character and integrity, you know. Okay. So the guy, James Lawrence, he's a great leader from the UK. He just was talking a bit about this whole idea that who you are at the center of your core of who you are is more important than anything you do. And if you look after that one thing, all the other parts of your life actually generally tend to fall into place, that you have control over not circumstances that happen to you or things how you achieve necessarily and stuff. You can give your best effort, sure, but how other factors factor into that, you're not really in control of that. You are in 100% control of your response, your reaction, who you are, your character, your integrity, and that's the stuff that matters. And I think I always knew it, but it was almost this moment of like I felt like a fraud because I had to achieve stuff to be good in your eyes. Like that's the fraud part. Like a part of being an achiever or someone who loves to win and someone who loves to get stuff done and see great things happen is that we feel like we have to do that in the eyes of others, perform, always be on a stage.
Yeah, definitely. It's exhausting, isn't it?
Oh, it's exhausting. Yeah. And I think I've just been exhausted for most of my 20s trying to do that over and over and over again. And there's this moment of, I don't need to do that. Who's telling you have to do that? No one has told you you've ever had to do that to win their love, affection, approval, comradeship, friendship, sonship, daughtership, you know, any of that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just that moment of it just slapped me in the face. And I think that's probably a lens that I look through most things now. I try and think about, well, do I need to do this? Do I, you know, why am I trying to, what's my motivation for doing this thing? Spending this time, spending this money, spending this effort. Do I need to do that? And often the answer is no, which is great. I feel like I've got more free time now than I probably have for ages, and I feel like I'm less stressed, I'm less anxious, I'm less worried, I'm less, full of myself. It just kind of puts me back down to a more humble, more real place and a bit more integrity because of that, I think.
Yeah, like a new framework of grounding yourself.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, and because of that, I don't have to be a fraud. Yeah.
And don't feel like it.
No, I'm who I am, and that's me.
Who you are. Yeah, and what comes out of that is an extension of who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's so good.